Well, welcome to the files once again, folks, and don't forget to like and subscribe. In this video, I'm going into the book by Stefan Nossenbaum, The Battle for Christmas. It's about the history of Christmas in the United States or in America. It's a Pulitzer Prize finalist, and it says a cultural history of America's most cherished holiday. Newsday had a comment on it. It said, captivating, entertaining, and erudite, challenges and demolishes a variety of cherished assumptions, and boy, does it. Um, so we're going to pick up where we left off. The last time we were on page 22, Misrule in English Almanacs, and we'll pick up with that history. Mather's charges are so buttressed by, once again, the evidence of almanacs. Almanac makers sometimes include monthly verses along with aphorisms. Sometimes I can't pronounce words. Sorry about that, folks. Let me try it again. Almanac makers sometimes include monthly verses along with aphorisms in prose or verse that were interlineated at particular dates, along with the astronomical and astrological data and the tides and weather observations. The December page sometimes included implicit references, occasionally implicit ones, occasionally explicit ones, excuse me, to the Christmas season. I'm starting out horrible. Let me try this again. Take two. All right, here we go. Mather's charges are also buttressed by, once again, the evidence of almanacs. Almanac makers sometimes include monthly verses along with aphorisms in prose verse that were interlineated at particular dates, along with the astronomical and astrological data and the tides and weather observations. December page sometimes included implicit references, occasionally explicit ones, to the Christmas season, and much of this material dealt with food and drink. Crack of the neck. In his notorious 1688 almanac, John Tooley wrote that in December, money and rum will be in great request. But even as early as 1682, a Boston almanac written by the thoroughly orthodox William Brattle contained a verse for the December page that referred to all the drinking that went on during that month. Sack refers to sherry in tubs to kegs. This month 'twill rain such store of sack each night that any man that tubs doth empty quite and leave abroad, i.e., outdoors, and then the next day view, he'll find them full of pure good sack. It's true. In other words, if people drink all, if people drink up all their sherry each day and leave the cask outside overnight, the next morning it would be magically full. Brado's verse may have referred to a popular belief about magical rebirth and renewal at the time of birth, to solstice and Christmas. But what matters more is that he seems to have assumed that December is indeed a month of heavy drinking. The same double allusion to intoxication and solstice can be found in an almanac printed in Boston in 1714, placed by the dates December 28 through 31. By strong liquor and play, they turn night into day. And here, from that same almanac, is a verse that heads the month of December. Strong beer, stouts, nitre, and a good fire are things this season doth require. Now some with feast do crown the day, whilst others lose their cullion in play. In 1702, the Boston Almanac maker Samuel Clough reported, disprovingly to be sure, that December was a time when men of the lower orders, coasters and boatmen, gather in taverns to gossip and drink. Some ask a drum when first come in, others with flip or bounce begin, though some do only call for beer, and that it morn is but mean cheer. And in 1729, Nathaniel Whitmore warned simply, extravagancies bring sickness. New England almanacs occasionally addressed the sexual barriers that were breached by the license and the cold temperatures of the Christmas season. Thus, in 1749, Nathaniel Ames wrote at December 15 through 17. This cold, uncomfortable weather makes Jack and Jill lie close together. On a similar note, George Wheaton's Almanac for 1753 noted in a quadruple rhyme, the weather that is cold, that makes the maid that is old for to scold, for the want of a bedfellow bold. But most common of all were the references to interclass eating and drinking, the familiar social inversion in which the low changed places with the high. At one extreme was John Tooley's 1688 verse that Christmas was a season when poor men at rich men's tables their guts forage. Another Boston Almanac, this one by Nathaniel Whitmore, for the year 1719, contains an interesting piece of advice interlineated at the dates December 18 through 21. It warns householders about a practice we can recognize as another familiar element of the wassail ritual. Once again, abroad means outside. Do not let your children and servants run too much abroad at nights. I don't know if you can see that. See that right there? Yeah, I'm gonna read about that. A warning for late December. Christmas is not named in this December page from Nathaniel Whitmore's 1719 Boston Almanac, but between the dates December 18 and 21 can be found in italics, an admonition to householders. Do not let your children and servants run too much abroad at nights. It's courtesy American and Antiquarian Society. Page 25. Several decades later, Nathaniel Ames Almanac for 1746 put at the dates December 20 through 23 a concise but rather cynical description of interclass merriment. The words recall the 1679 Salem witch wassail, when old John Roden was visited by four young men who came to call for pots. The miser and the soot, together they have got to drink a pot. Let's see. Let me check on something, see if I have time to do any more reading, because we are running out of day. Yeah, I can do a little bit more. All right. This is a Yankee Doodle Christmas Finally, even closer to the center of New England popular culture, there is the 18th century song that can almost be regarded as the first American national anthem. Yankee Doodle was not a single song, but a variable cluster of verses, all composed in a meter that could be sung to a version of the still familiar tune. What all the verses have in common is that they are about backcountry manners. Most of these verses are unknown today, but all are written in the same meter, the meter of the line, Yankee Doodle goes to town riding on his pony. Several of the verses dealt with sexual antics. Two and two may go to bed, two and two together, and if there is not room enough, lie one atop a t'other. That's how it's O with a mark, T-O, mark, T-H-E, T-H-E-R. Do you remember how that goes? Song Yankee Doodle? A number of Yankee Doodle verses refer to such seasonal events as Election Day or corn husking, a frolic at which there'll be some as drunk as suits. One of these seasonal verses is about Christmas. Christmas is a comin', boys. The verse begins, Christmas is a comin', boys. We'll go to Mother Chase's, and there we'll get a sugar drum. That's rum, sweetened with molasses or molasses. And the verse continues by shifting from alcohol to sex. Hi ho for our Cape Cod. Hi ho, Nantasket. Do not let the Boston wags fill your oyster basket. Cotton Mather himself could not have stated the issue more tellingly. In the next reading, we'll do Christmas Enters the Cultural Mainstream, 1730 to 1800, A Temperate Christmas. So as you can see in the early years, and this is a short reading because I have to get going, but in early years, Christmas was pretty mischievous in the early years in America. But it's going to continue to the history, and it's going to show a progression over time, how we went from that mess of Christmas to what we have today, which is far better than what was going on back then. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time on the C Files. And don't forget, because if you do forget, the ghost of Christmas past is going to come and visit you. Like and subscribe, or you'll get a visit tonight. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time here on the C Files.